Welcome back, episode 9 of TWC Home Improvement Podcast. This time, we're going straight to the manufacturers. So welcome back. It is episode 9 of TWC, the Home Improvement Podcast. Guys, it feels like forever since we did it. Bilbao, Tottenham Hotspur.
European champion.
Get in.
Apologies, we had to cancel the last
I was with
recording.
him on that one.
Well, no, I was with him. But
Yeah, how did that go that you were with him and you're not a Spurs fan?
it was lovely. It was really nice to.
I'll give you one of those, but you're not a Spurs fan,
No,
so
I'm a
you weren't
Swindon
bothered.
fan, so no, my son was bothered. Both of them were. One was a Man United fan, so which was really nice.
That's what I thought there was a Man United thing. but
Unfortunately, there
that was a legitimate pause on this because it's quite late. You got the tickets, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we got out there. Obviously, had to get the kids out of school and get out
We
there.
just dropped you in trouble.
What, no children both very ill.
It was fantastic, and it was no trouble. Went out there, there's 80,000 fans out there, and
Angie's last match.
exactly. Yeah.
How weird. There we go. But no, fully understandable. So obviously we got Andy, we got Joe, but we got a very special guest this time.
Very
We're these guys are very excited that they've managed to secure you. Introducing Karen Clough, the Group Marketing Director of Conservatory Outlet. Yeah, I got
The mouthful.
Get used to it.
So we go straight to the manufacturer this time. You've been working with these guys for how long?
Oh, I think about 6 or 7 years, is it now,
about
since we've been
7,
working
yeah.
together?
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been quite a journey with you guys, hasn't it?
And everybody says that, funnily enough.
That's if you've been in here 10 minutes.
What a journey. What's your background in both marketing and dealer support?
So yeah, as you say, I work for a company called Conservatory Outlet, which is up in Wakefield in Yorkshire. So strictly speaking, my title is marketing director, but a big part of what I do is to manage the relationships with our premium reseller network. So we have quite a different business model to most companies that do what we do. So we manufacture a full range of PVC windows and doors, composite doors, roofs, conservatories, glass, so a full range of products. A company of our size could probably expect to have around 200, 250 customers, something like that. For Conservatory Outlet, we only have 28. So we work with like a really tight premium retailer network across the country, of which TWC is one of those. So each of those premium retailers has their own exclusive patch.
I was about to say it's exclusivity, isn't
Absolutely.
it? You guys have talked about this before.
And that's hugely important for the homeowner, because they get access to exclusive products. So we only sell to TWC in this area. So anything that we do, all of our innovative products are only available to these guys. But also, another big plus point to that is that all the other premium retailers, and obviously we're really careful about who we work with, the only way we can grow our business is for you to grow yours.
Yeah.
The only way you can grow your business is to deliver an excellent service. And you only have to look at TWC's online reviews. If I look at Trustpilot or Google, you'll see that they do that every time. So in terms of customer satisfaction, it's really important to us that we work with the right businesses, and TWC are a classic example of that. So you've then got 28 customers who are all like-minded and all willing to share and mix ideas together, which is brilliant because no one's in competition. They've all got their own boundaries.
Yeah.
So we have lots of conversations, lots of sharing of ideas, what works, what doesn't, and those relationships are crucial to this business and to the homeowner.
And I think when we originally sort of, you know, spoke to Conservatory Outlet and, you know, they talked about their business model and stuff like that, being honest, we thought it was a bit, yeah, right, come on.
Very fair.
No, but, you know, come on, realistically, what, 27 other window dealers are going to sit down with us, you know, who at the time were, you know, sort of finding our way and, you know, wanted a showroom and and all that sort of stuff. What, 27 other window companies, some of which have been going for 150 years, some have been going for 30, 60, 80, whatever, you know, and they're going to sit down with us and share their best practices and their best ideas and stuff like that. And being honest, we didn't believe it, did we?
No.
It's actually utopian, isn't it?
No, I really remember the chat. It was a chap that is no longer with Conservatory Outlet. Good old Andy Miller, wasn't it? But he came in to see us and sort of sat down, and I remember give us a pitch, and I sort of, because I don't know if you've ever tried to pitch me on something. It's not. Yeah. You have, and it's sort of like I had that sort of look of death. Yep. You know, like, oh, this is so boring.
I'm still having counselling for it.
And what was really funny is by the end of it, I still wasn't interested, and I told him to, you know, could he please leave my premises because I'm not interested. And it was very politely put. And then you were on holiday, weren't you? And I always remember something he said resonated with me. It was about the exclusivity. So when you got back from holiday, I remember talking to you about it. And what I loved was, because obviously in this situation, it's quite funny to look at all those years ago. But what I loved was when I was telling Joey what he had said, and I was sort of going through the pitch and all that.
Second-hand pitch, yeah.
And you can imagine I put a lot of effort in that. Yeah. But I always remember your face being really like, oh, whatever, that's not true. So we ended up, I think it took a while, but we ended up going, well, let's go in and speak to those guys. Let's go up to Wakefield. I think we came up to Wakefield.
Yeah, I remember.
Where they did this bizarre, it's a Northern thing. They did this bizarre open sandwich. I don't know if you've ever been served an open sandwich.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
So it's like a sandwich that you'd have down here, but without the top.
I think they were either trying to save money or show off.
Yeah.
We weren't quite sure.
I think we were trying
was.
to show off. It was like a special case for that bit.
But it was a lasting memory because all these years later I still talk about it.
Only reason we joined.
Yeah, and here they are down there. But yeah, I remember being up there and meeting the team, and you were in that first meeting as well, all those years ago. And I remember meeting the team, and it was exactly what they said. And to be fair, apart from certain release dates on certain products not being stuck to, they have stuck
We'll get to that.
They have stuck to everything they've said, and it's been an experience. And actually, we've grown better as a pair of directors, as a company, because of this.
Exponentially,
yeah.
100%.
Well, you guys have referred to it quite a lot where...
we were trying to get a better deal, but...
But in terms of with the other companies, with their exclusives, and the fact that everybody feeds in, and that there's been some things that you had done that worked and you fed back to them.
You've got directors in this network that had a window
got shushed as well.
Yeah, he got shushed.
We don't bring that up.
I mean, if we could just do a podcast just about that, I'd be happy. No, but you've got directors that have been doing this for 40, 50 years. You know, Mitchell Glass are over 100 years.
150, yeah.
There's just no way without being part of that you'd be able to tap into that knowledge, and it's great.
But then they get to learn from newer people on the block that have come in with fresh...
Well, do you know what? I was just about to say that, because I think we underplay how much influence these guys have had on the rest of the network.
They don't.
And I know they're big characters. I mean, you guys are like life force, is probably the way I can describe it. But it was quite an impact on the network when you first joined.
Belfast.
Yeah.
Order!
Joey loves the speech.
Most people around him don't like the speech.
We like a wind-up as well, don't we? But I think once everyone warmed to you and got to know you, there's been some really good ideas actually from this business, and everyone looks to you now, particularly on the marketing side, and you come up with some really good campaigns and really strong ideas, and that's taken forward by the others. But, you know, from a homeowner's point of view, that's really important because, you know, they've got the benefit of working with like a local family-run business. They've got the backing of a big national manufacturer, but then they know that your business is working with other businesses and learning all of these lessons. Yeah. But I think having this presence as well is so important because, you know, the big national companies that are out there, and they're kind of faceless to a degree. They only really exist on the internet, and then they turn up in a van and they disappear. Whereas actually having a showroom base in the local area, and you're familiar with the area, but you've also got that fixed presence so that people have that confidence in you that you've been here for a long time and you'll continue to be here for a long time. again, it's really important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the guys
It's a good
underplay how important they are to the network.
No, we just wanted you to say it.
They underplay things.
Well,
I've learned today as well.
we have laughed about that. I think it was Stuart that said, turned around to either yourself or Greg, didn't they, after Belfast? Like, what have you done? Bringing these two in.
Who are these?
But you know, I think there was a lot of people that had maybe been there a while, that had been doing some of the same things for a while and stuff like that. So although, you know, to start off with, it was like this, you know,
Bull in the China.
yeah, bull in a china shop. But actually, it was we learn stuff from them, they get stuff from us, and different ways of doing things.
And do I recall there being conversations where you said that, and I don't know, I'll aim this to you,
Go
Karen,
on.
is that I might be misquoting them, but I recall that there's been feedback that's helped you develop the products from these people. And I don't just mean these two, I mean all of the 28 that are on the coalface, whether it's the products, whether it's the service, the support, etc. Is that fair to say as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on on like really big projects actually. It started off small, and as with all these things, they snowball. But it's really important to us to get insight from our retail businesses, and you guys are dealing with the customer every day, so you have that interaction all the time, and you know what homeowners are looking for when they're out in the market for new windows and doors or living spaces. So for us, it's hugely important to get that feedback that we can build into our new products. So we're working at the moment on a big new project to roll out all of our PVC window and door collections and our composite door collection as well. We had a focus group of which these guys,
I was
one of
invited.
these guys,
This is actually a little bit awkward. I was
Joe was
invited.
part of.
Mr. Hill wasn't
I was
invited.
and
he's never let it go since,
And
has he?
actually, there is only one redeeming factor that I wasn't invited, and nor was Greg, who's you know
My boss.
Yeah, boss. He was also not invited, and so far, nearly 2 years later, nothing's come of that
It wasn't
meeting.
that long.
It wasn't that long. It
So
was
you know, me and
October.
Greg got involved back in Manchester, and I think things are starting to go. This will be coming very soon now.
Shum society.
Yeah.
It was
Joey-
a cracking focus.
Joey's
It was
input
great.
was let's do a video, which was great. So I'm really proud of him, and that's some of the first words you've ever spoken as well. So I'm really happy for him. It's a great.
No, in all
It's a great
seriousness,
day.
they did give some really good feedback. So we had probably, was it about 8 of us, I think. We
Handy.
got some really good feedback, not just in terms of how we package the product, but the product itself. So we've designed certain elements of our new window lock based on the feedback we got from that focus group that really kind of then appeal to the motivations of the homeowner and what they're looking for. And then we've designed like a whole package that really conveys the features and benefits of the window and how people want to hear about it. So you have loads of different types of customers who sometimes you'll get people who want to know the technical ins and outs of everything. And then there's customers who just want to know what it's going to look like. And there's all these different kind of challenges going on, and we need that feedback from you. And what we hope we've developed is a new kind of sales presentation, loads of digital assets, loads of samples that really talk to what the homeowner is looking for. So that's been really important. And I try and take it in turns, inviting Joe and Andy to things. So I don't.
And also, it was.
She's still not invited me anyway.
All joking aside, about the focus group, it was literally like, guys, what is it that you're finding? You know, when you look at your team of people, you know, what could they do? What would help them present to the customer better? What would help them, you know, educate the customer in terms of what's available in the market without flooding them with too much information? And it's always finding that balance. So actually, it's about, as you said, coming up with samples, coming up with ways in which we can try and make sure that all of our guys that are out there selling, you know, are doing the best that they can with the tools that we give them.
I think also it's important that obviously when you do new products or new releases and new systems, it's important to know what everybody actually wants. And there's so many companies that want slightly different things. And you know, you talk to us, we'll want this, and you talk to maybe Eden, now want this, or Trademark there, want that. So to get everybody in a room, everybody can sort of, obviously I was invited, but everyone can sort of talk about what they actually want. Which was great, you know, and they had their little weird meeting, and then, you know, the big boys spoke about it afterwards. And it's on track. No, but it seems important from a customer point of view to get a really well polished product. Because one of the reasons we were so keen when we had the chats with Conservatory Outlet was the guarantee. And I know we've not started talking about that just yet, but the guarantee, the 20-year guarantee, is just unheard of in this industry with the way that these guys do it. So for me, it's getting that product right and still then offering that 20-year guarantee. So that's brilliant.
And I think I talk about two customers, you know, when you're in the house. I talk about, you know, we used to do what a lot of other companies do, get their windows from a trade counter. You know, I can't slag it off too much because we did it very successfully for a number of years until we met Conservatory Outlet, and we now have this exclusive product which has a 20-year guarantee, A+ rated, all the things that we talk about with the customer and sort of demonstrate to them. So actually, it's just it's them seeing the difference to believe it, really.
Which, you know, as we've talked about, is it's a reasonable investment for anybody to make on this kind of thing. And again, speaking as a consumer, is that you're there going, if I'm going to spend this, I need to know that I'm with the people that are going to look after me, with the product that's going to work for me.
100%.
And with that 20-year guarantee, it kind of almost puts it into that no-brainer category, I would say.
But for you to be able to have that direct link with the manufacturer as well and influence the product and influence how you're going to sell it.
It's just so different.
It's good for the homeowner, I think, isn't it? It's got to be.
It's so different for the industry because this industry is a strange one to be involved with. It's always had a certain reputation.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And what's even worse about this industry is everybody sort of shuts their door and no one wants to talk to you.
Because you get tired with the same brush, don't you?
Yeah, you know, there's just no way we'd be able to talk to, and I've had multiple conversations with Eden, Trademark, 5-Star Jodan, you know, about, we've got this difficulty, we're having this problem. Well, have you thought of doing it this way? Have you thought of doing it that way? That's priceless, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of being able to sort issues out.
For us and for the customer, you know, because genuinely some of the things, a lot of what we do is our bread and butter and stuff like that. But when we come up with a job, you know, we're always finding jobs, you know, either on survey or when the guy goes out to price it.
Here to test us.
Exactly, yeah. that we've never come across before, certain sizes and things like that. Well, right, how do we do this? Well, actually, if you can pick up the phone, speak to people that you've built a relationship with, because let's be honest, we don't tend to, that you could maybe try and find someone that's done this before, but it's a completely different conversation when it's someone that you know, that you spend time with, that you've done
also
things
trust
with.
their judgment.
Yeah.
You've got that relationship.
Yeah.
You're willing to listen to that person. You're not worried about it. So it's fantastic.
Well, it can also be quite a lonely place running a business, can't it? Because you're the motivator, aren't you? And you're motivated
not if you're with Joe.
Maybe not. I guess you've got each other, haven't you? But it's hard because there's no one to motivate you, is there? So having
there's not.
other people who do the same thing, again, you've got each other.
Well, Andy's a bit scared of Greg, you see. So
I love Greg. Yeah, I love Greg. Not the speedy Greg.
Yeah, no, definitely. In terms of, you know, what's your next motivation? What are we going to do next? What are we, you know, should we do this? Should we not? And actually having people that you can bounce off.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and that's got to go both ways, because for you to have the trust, if they're coming to you with thoughts or questions, ideas, whatever it might be, you know that it is worth listening to them.
Yes.
Which I don't think anyone's ever said to you before, I think.
And you know what? For all their bravado and their jokes, these are clever guys, and they've got some really clever ideas and really good business people. So
with an honest motivator, because I always think back to
100%.
the very first episode we did, is that you said that the reason you set this up is that you were already in the industry and you did not like the way it was being done.
Yeah, it's just awful. Yeah.
And so you were like, I know how it should be done, and you set out TWC to do it. Exactly right.
And I do, all sort of joking aside about when we went to Belfast. So Belfast, the reason we talk about Belfast, that was the first gala. So
first gala I'd ever been invited to.
Yeah. First time he'd ever put on a suit, other than that time you were in court. And
that's not true, though.
A long time ago.
Basically, every year they do a gala where they bring all 28 dealers together, and they'll do some awards and they'll do some sort of, you know, networking and bits and pieces like that. But we came along, and I think if we're honest, you know, and egos aside, we probably did have a little bit of sort of imposter syndrome, because we were like, you know, with all these people.
That's the first time I'd ever spent more than a day in your company, and we had to get on a plane to, and then I couldn't leave you. We were put in opposite hotel rooms. So yeah, it was quite traumatic. If I'm being honest, it was difficult for me, that trip, and I was quite nervous. So when you're nervous, you drink.
Well, you'd never really met the other dealers before, had you? Or the other premium retailers, I should say. So it's you're kind of thrown into this mix of people, and I think you felt that everyone else was more established than you.
Well, we were, we felt like a big group of people.
They already knew each other and all of that.
Exactly,
And we were running around screaming order.
Obviously I did my speech and stuff like that, but no, I think, but then actually you say about a journey, and that is correct. It has been a real journey, but I think what it's actually made us realise is that we're so forward thinking. We're so keen to get better. We're humble enough to accept there's certain elements that we're not so good at, so therefore we want to learn that, or we want to get someone in that's better than us at certain things. So actually then we're not going to accept, we're just going to bumble along. We really want to open up a new shop. We want to take someone on that's got that experience. We want to get a new person in to really push us and stuff like that. So I think that's what other people have certainly noticed, that we're not content with just settling. We want to get better.
And congratulations on the new shop. I can't remember whether we've done an episode.
We haven't yet. No. We are keen to get one. Maybe the next one on
Where's
the new
that
shop.
again?
It's in
Whitney.
Whitney. It's going to be great.
So it's going to be obviously gateway to the Cotswolds. So it's going to be the Cotswold showroom.
It's a brilliant spot as well, isn't it? On a really
Yeah,
busy
really
high
exciting.
street. It's a beautiful little showroom.
Brilliant. When I saw that on the social.
Yeah, I would have some photos, but unfortunately, Carl, one of our workmen, has taken a little bit longer to do stuff than he should have. So,
And for us, it was about location is huge. The reason we love this place, you can't miss it. And I always love it when you get people that have been in the industry for years, have been to loads of showrooms, come to this one, and they're like, wow. Normally they're on trading estates and things like that. It's right on the roundabout. So for us, it's not a massive showroom like this. It's a shop. And we've had great success with Millet's Farm, but this is it was an old lighting shop on the high street, and it literally, you go to Whitney, and it's not one of those town centres that's cash for gold and barbers and empty shops. It's a really lovely high street with affluent coffee shops and really, really nice other businesses and stuff like that. But you can't miss it. You couldn't drive through Whitney High Street and miss it.
And it was we went there the other day, and a local Sean who used to work in the lighting shop, he took us on a tour of Whitney. It was amazing, wasn't it? Took us to the blanket shop, which is amazing. I didn't know there was such a deep-rooted history of blankets in Whitney, but there is. It was brilliant. But it was wonderful. So we're really looking at opportunities to get involved in the community,
which it's got to be wonderful for your ears as well.
100%. So again, obviously the guys have got their own trading area, but for us it's brilliant if they start to open new showrooms and start to really expand that area and make the most of it. And I think having a really strong brand presence in a local area makes such a massive difference. So having that fixed showroom really builds trust in and around that area, and I think that'd be huge for the guys.
We've done more and more business in the Cotswolds over the last.
Have you?
Yeah, more and more business, and you get a lot of customers from Whitney, from the Cotswold area that come 45 minutes, only 45 minutes, but 45 minutes to come in. So it's still a long way. It's quite a big commitment, an hour and a half of your day. So even just by having some doors on show, some windows on show, we've got some amazing 3D technology going in there as well, so you can sort of look inside the.
This is the thing with your design service and stuff now. You can see so much more, can't you? Especially on the living space side, you can create some really great graphics that give the customer a sense of what the living space is going to look like. So
it's really exciting.
It does.
And I know a lot of people, and there was an article sort of saying about the showrooms. Do we need showrooms nowadays with technology and the internet and stuff like that? But certainly for us, although it is, a sizable commitment and, sort of financial and time and everything like that to set up a showroom, even though it's a shop, from us and obviously our supplier who kindly supply all the products to go in it. Yeah. So it is a commitment to do that. But as you said, from the customer's point of view, it's almost like, well, actually, I want to come along. I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to feel it before making a decision.
I've had two examples recently where I think people are making a mistake of moving away from showrooms, because it was two different industries. One, I needed some office furniture, office chairs and some desking, and I couldn't get anywhere where I could actually sit, touch and feel and sit. Yeah. And another one, totally different industry, was golf shops have disappeared quite dramatically. I want to see these things.
I totally agree.
But this isn't like buying a dress, is it? This is a big, significant investment. So you want to be able to see it, and you want to be able to know that the company is in a fixed location. So if anything were to go wrong, which I'm sure it wouldn't with TWC. But it's good to know that you've got that place to go, isn't it? And I think that's why the showroom is so.
You've got a base where a customer can come in and feel that they can be heard and speak
absolutely.
to you and, you know, get action.
We touched on the fact that there was like the annual gala and all of that, which celebrate different awards and whatever else, plus the networking, but also various other things such as charity work as well.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, big time. So I think we worked out the other day we're currently at a rolling £31,000.
Can I just say, actually, because we're about 20 minutes into this, and this is the first time I've heard Karen speak in about 6 months without mentioning her leg. It's been bad. Anyone that sort of followed the Welsh 3000s.
Well, you've got to give the background on this. So we did the 3 peaks. We did the 3 peaks, which, you know, put it there. Then we did the 24 in 24, so it was 24 peaks in 24. Don't forget the skydive. Raising lots of money along the way for charity.
It was.
And Karen broke her ankle on day 1 of the 24 in 24 and just continued. And it was only the following day when we went to go do the second 12 hours of the challenge when she couldn't get her boot on. And my wife took her to the hospital and realised she'd broken her ankle. But not to be beaten by that. 6 months later or 4 months later or something like that. It was October,
yeah, it was
wasn't
about 4 months, yeah.
Karen went back and did day 2.
Wow.
Just saying. So I did do it.
Yeah.
Correct.
There was a bit of a gap.
But Andy hasn't done the challenges. However, he is going to do the challenge next year.
So
You've been waiting for the drinking challenges.
no, if I'm being honest with you, Chris, we love doing things for charity. And, you know, Joe's great with his charity walks and stuff like that. But I like to complete a challenge. If we're going to start a challenge, it's one that we complete. And, you know, I'm not being bitter, but the 24 they did complete. I'll give them that. The 3 peaks, they were 15 minutes late. And the Welsh 3000.
There was an accident just outside of Liverpool.
And
There was an accident just outside of Liverpool. So
the Welsh
Yeah,
3000, it was
Yeah.
too windy. So, no, but
It
fair
was very
play.
windy.
And we're looking at local charities in Whitney, aren't we, at the moment, to do some stuff for her as well. So fair play to her. I knew that.
And what was the figure that you did say?
So the rolling total is £31,000.
Wow.
In the last, is it 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice because we all pick a charity together as well, something that means something
It
to
is good.
somebody taking part. So, and it's been really nice, hasn't it? Because all these little friendships have developed
Yeah.
and people
People's
involve their
family,
families and
yeah,
friends
yeah.
and things like that as well. So it's quite a nice challenge to do. And I think it
Mountain
brings everyone
friends,
closer
they
together.
keep calling each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
But you come over these, you know, you overcome these hideous challenges, and the weather was pretty bad, and I think we all had to motivate each other, and especially on the 3 peaks, I think Joey's singing really did everything.
That made you walk quicker.
There was a lot of singing.
We're done. Let's get up there.
Again, we talk about, you know,
He used to be in a band though.
I know, I used to be a
Big time,
drummer.
big time.
I know that, yeah.
we talk about the Conservatory Outlet and TWC relationship, but it is a relationship and it's forged on relationships. And you know, okay, you can go to an ops event where we talk about, you know, the product or the fitting or something like that, or we can go to a marketing event and we can talk about how we get our name out there and all that sort of thing. But I think what I love about it is, especially if you go to the gala, there's a lot of downtime, so actually you get to know the person, but actually you don't get to know someone quite like when you're walking up a mountain and it's lashing with rain, 50-mile-an-hour winds and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You're at your lowest ebb, and it takes someone to really get you round. So
Agreed.
you see a completely different side. You lose all of that, you know, oh yes, business is going great. You know, there can sometimes be a little bit of that bravado, or it's literally people around. We've built this brilliant relationship and this WhatsApp group which Andy's in, even though
He says he hates it, but he's never left
exactly
it.
he's never climbed about, you know, climbing down the mountain with us,
hovered over
but
it.
he's always there, you know, quick to slag us off, but he wants to be a mountain friend, doesn't
Well,
he?
He does want to be
I
out
have committed to doing the next one because Hannah, who I will say fair play to, she
Correct.
did the challenge. She's done 3, done what actually completed 1, and fair play to her. She put herself through hell to do it, so I will give her that. Although Karen was
Pictures
quite
to prove.
nasty to her earlier,
Yeah,
called
yeah.
her a dog.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
such bad timing.
You know,
Sorry, Hannah.
sorry, she didn't actually. But no, Hannah completed it, so I said if she completes it, I'll do the next one, and I'm going to do it. But
Man of your word.
I'm going to do it. But
It's on record.
I have
Yeah,
made
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
made it very, very clear that once it's signed up for, I'm going to leave the WhatsApp group for the first time. I don't want any part of their mountain friends. It's very icky.
Do it for you, mate.
I'll do it just because my
It can get quite cheesy, can't it?
Oh, it's really embarrassing.
TikTok.
And the thing is, I always find, I always find Joey slightly. It gives me the ick anyway. When given the opportunity to be as icky as possible, Joey's quite bad. And I'll be honest, he's one
Andy,
person.
when you're raising 31,000 for charity, I'll take the icky bit icky. Yeah, I'll take that.
Personally, you didn't do that, but I would pay that to him to stop doing it. So if you
That's
really
what he's angling for. He's like, come on, Andy, how many more of these I got to do before you pay me to stop? Come on.
That's a good idea. I reckon there'd be a lot of people that would play this.
It would.
No, fair
It would
play.
be good.
Joking
It's
aside,
been
fair
great.
play. I like to wind him up, but really proud of him all.
We've not noticed. But I'm going to change tack very slightly now, and I'm going to get a bit more technical on this because, like, for example, we've got directly behind you two there. That Extreme is one of the. Is it brand? Is that the right phrase for it? Is it brand?
Yeah, one of our collections. So Extreme is our kind of signature PVC collection. So our casement windows and doors. Is that what you're going to ask me about?
Yeah,
I'm going to set
absolutely.
off on a rant.
No, that was fine.
So we've been working with the Extreme brand for about 7 years.
Yeah, it was already there when we moved.
It was, and it was brand new. I think we just launched it as you joined us. And obviously over that time, technology has changed and things have come on. And as we said before, we've worked with the guys to kind of build elements into the window that really address some of the concerns of homeowners. And we've been working on a relaunch of that brand, which is coming out hopefully later in this year. It always takes slightly longer than you'd hope when
There's not a time date on this. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you release this sort of December?
Maybe next year it'll be
Good things come to those who wait. That's what they say.
Absolutely. But no, it's got an exclusive new window lock, which I get very excited about. But we call it the Super Bolt locking technology. And it's got a big chunky bolt at the top, which is 4 times thicker than any other sheet bolt on the market. So what that means, it is super secure. So there's no breaking into this. There's 11 locking points all the way around the window. So not only does that keep it super secure and almost impenetrable, but it also means it's kind of airtight as well. So compression-wise, it's brilliant to minimise kind of cold spots and any drafts coming through. So I think it'll be a big leap forward for us. We've also been working on a new glazing option as well. So within this glazing option, so we talk about laminated glass, it's got a fantastic UV protection. So in terms of furniture fade for your home, if you've got like a south-facing property or conservatory, for example, and your curtains and your sofas fade over time, this blocks out 99% of UV rays. So that's an upgrade option as well on the new window, which is really exciting. And we brought out a whole new range of digital assets, videos and samples for the guys to be able to take this to the customer and really explain the features and benefits to them. They could see the value in what they're paying for. So we're really excited to bring that to you, but it's just coming soon.
It is. It really is. We give them a bit of stick, obviously, about how long it takes, but we understand, the reasons why. But for us, genuinely, what's really exciting is to work with a manufacturer as a partner who is always looking to innovate, always looking to the next thing.
It's all too easy to stand still.
Yeah. And, we say, don't we? Funny enough, that original pitch when they talked about that, and they said about, someone had said Woolworths, or Blockbusters, would have gone. You'd have never believed it, but it's because they weren't looking for what's next. Not just looking at the here and now. It's working with people that are thinking, yeah, okay, great. This is what we've got now. This is what we've got in the future. This is an idea that we've got for even further in the future, and that for us is massive.
And we're not afraid to say when something doesn't work as well. We've tried a couple of things in the past. We've got really excited and thought they were going to be phenomenal, and they haven't worked. And we take that feedback. And this isn't, the market's not ready for this, or the homeowner isn't looking for this.
Yeah.
So I think, again, having that feedback's really important, and we're not afraid to say, that's not worked for us. Let's try something else.
I think that's one of the, to echo what Joe said, I think that one of the best things we're working with Conservatory Outlet is us as a company, we're always looking to push forward, push on, get the next best. And the manufacturers that's not what they're like. A lot of manufacturers get settled, don't they? They're sort of, this is the way we do it. And because you're buying from them, they've almost this prestigious sort of arrogance about manufacturing. Whereas with Conservatory Outlet, they're just on the same journey that we're on. They're building, they're going forward.
Very much a
they're making it, so it's really, really good to have exactly the same
I think it's the focus on the retail market, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because a lot of fabricators kind of aim for the trade, but they come up with their own products in isolation and then just push it down the supply chain, and you just take what you're given.
Yes.
Whereas we try and work with you to address something that really focuses on the retail market and what the retail customer's looking for.
And it's not a rush sort of race to the bottom. It's not just throw a load of windows out there. You know, big building firms buy these massive thousands of windows. Yeah. The cheapest window. It's actually building a product that's going to last. It's going to, be good for a long period of time.
And you suddenly reminded me, I meant to ask this. What's the history on the name Conservatory Outlet? Because it's not because that's not fair to you guys anymore, is it?
No,
you do everything.
really. I mean, the business it's actually 20 years. I swear this is next Thursday as well. So it's good timing. But the business has been going 20 years. I think when the business started, it was a fabrication and installation business, and I think back then it kind of made sense. Over time, as the business has evolved, and it has evolved massively, and we've obviously got new ownership as well. It's probably not as relevant a name anymore, and the word outlet potentially kind of conveys this idea of kind of a cheaper outlet or whatever. But we've talked about whether to rebrand, but Conservatory Outlet isn't kind of a homeowner-facing brand.
No,
so everything we do is about these guys. So all of our marketing efforts and everything we do is aimed at branding stuff for TWC, and it's all about investing in their business. So Conservatory Outlet as a name isn't particularly relevant.
Need to be.
Yeah,
so,
we mentioned it to a
fair,
customer.
Absolutely.
It's
But
what you
obviously,
guys call it.
It conveys conservatories only as well, doesn't it? But obviously windows and doors is a huge part of what we do.
And that was deliberately, I've said that because I think it's fair for everybody to know that that isn't just conservatories. We'll be touching on the windows there. You say you've got the Forte composite doors coming soon.
No, they're out, but
they are
better. They're brilliant.
They're
already great, but they're getting even better. Really excited.
Yeah, no, we've had
You genuinely
Forte.
were there.
Genuinely. One of my pet hates is doors that sort of need adjusting. And they bow and stuff like that. And the reason why is homeowners don't use homeowners, but they don't use the doors correctly. When you shut a composite door, you should pull the handle up because it activates all the cams and pulls that door together. So when it gets really hot, it doesn't bow the door out. But you've just released a new slam lock, haven't you? So as you shut the door, you don't have to pull the handle up. It automatically does that now, which is brilliant. So that's gonna.
Yeah, because very rarely do people remember to do that. And
I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly when the hot weather, like at the moment, doors do bow, especially solid core doors, but generally all doors will bow to a certain degree, depending on the heat. But if you've got top, middle and bottom engaged without having to do anything to the handle, it keeps that door in place and it stops it from warping. Wow. So we've just launched that with the guys now, which will make a huge difference. And again, we've relaunched all of our branding and given them lots of toolkits, which are coming next month.
No date stamp.
So that's a big leap forward as well for us, I think, and for you guys.
Yeah.
And I think there's more designs and colours and stuff coming out with the
And we've got the new door designer as well, which again, on TWC's website, you'll see a brand new door designer. So you can go on there and create your own doors. You can even upload a photograph and then put it on there and really play around with the design that you think, well, it is really good, isn't it?
It's really good. The render on it's really good. You can zoom right in and see all of the different grain and stuff.
And that was a big thing for us. We've mentioned this on the podcast. That actually, a big thing for us was, yes, we're a proactive company. We've got people out there knocking doors, bits and pieces like that. We'll go and see customers in their homes. But actually, it's having a broader brush. So having the showrooms, having the ability to watch a podcast rather than necessarily pick up the phone. And so actually, the motivation for us to put that door designer onto the website was massive, because actually a customer might not quite be at that stage where they want to have a salesperson around to their house. They might just want to see what's going to look like in green or grey or whatever it might be.
I do apologise. I keep picking my phone up. I thought I was just
looking out for that auction.
We're on an auction. We're just in the middle of moving from Woodside Road in South Marston. which has been our home for 10 years. And we're moving to a new unit in Headlands Grove. And I stupidly have gone onto auction to buy some new window racks because we've expanded so much that we haven't got enough window racks.
Right.
So I'm currently in an auction to buy some window racks, and I've timed the auction and this podcast to be exactly the same time. And I've just been outbid for something that I
Really?
yeah, so I'm like, no, I really need this.
That's fine.
So my apology if I keep doing that. I promise I'm not texting anyone.
We'll have a chocolate
I'm just
That's
doing
fine.
that. Just cut this bit out.
Where we want the full celebration if you get it.
Yeah. Cheer it.
My apologies.
Talking about that, there's quite a human element to that. I'm going to bring it onto a human element. And I'm going to really aim this more to you to give this context, Joe, because you brought this one up about how during tough times the network came together. And I'm assuming you're talking primarily about things like COVID.
Well,
and stuff like that.
yeah. Listen, you look at the last 5 years. It's been a roller coaster, hasn't it? Let's be honest. You know, it's been
And
a
it
roller
still
coaster.
is.
Absolutely, yeah. And I suppose, you know, we're often talking to people up. Like we said, you meet up with how's things, how's business. You know, what's the barometer out there of, you know, is it good, is it bad? And you know, I think whenever it's in quote unquote hard out there, I'm always kind of like, it's always hard out there, you know, and I think that's
It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think sometimes bouncing off people that, you know, have found it equally hard, you know, is quite sort of, it's good for the soul almost, you know. And we had a big ops meeting, didn't we, where we got all of the installation departments together at the start of this year. And actually it was quite refreshing to hear struggles that they'd had, you know, and that whole thing of a problem shared is, you know, is a problem halved and all that, because actually we have gone through a lot. You know, everyone knows what's happened in the world. Prices have gone up. You know, I often talk to customers about that and they say, blimey, your prices have gone up. Well, yeah. Timber doubled in a day, you know, polymer went up, glass went up, all these kind of things. And people can accept that, but actually all the things we've gone through with Russia and Ukraine and, you know, Suez Canal, all these kind of things which made manufacturing hard, which then there was a knock on, you know, and it was almost like at one point, every time we spoke, it was to kind of say, this isn't going to be on time or anything like that. And it certainly tested the relationship, didn't it?
It did. And do you know what? I think we could probably all think of a couple of examples where it's got really emotional, actually, with some of the dealer network. And people go through these ups and downs, and it is a human thing, and you do, sometimes it gets to you, and certainly out of the back of lockdown, probably not straight away, but in the probably year following that, it was really difficult. You know, there was so much impact, supply chain, deliveries, products.
Brilliant, wasn't it, at first?
Absolutely.
Everyone
Demand
thought,
was
well, this is
phenomenal.
amazing, and then all of a sudden it went, and that was everybody though.
But it was tough, and it was tough for us as a manufacturer. It was tough for you guys. It was tough for the homeowner who has to, you know, wait a lot longer for products. And I think all of us at one point or another got, you know, quite emotional. And I think having other people who understand what you're going through, and like I said before, it's quite a lonely place sometimes running a business, and you've got someone else who can pick you up.
During COVID, it was quite a lonely place for me because Joey was making TikTok videos. He went semi-viral, and I must say, and I never really thought about this, and even Greg doesn't know this, but I was sat there trying to get through to Joey to say when are we going to reopen the business, Joe? And this is true. I think we've said this on the podcast, and it basically hung up on me.
No, I didn't hang up on you. I rejected the call because obviously I was trying to film a video.
He was trying to do it, and it was actually Greg Kane, the Conservatory Outlet, who rang me back. He was making a TikTok. He rang me back, and it was a conversation with him that genuinely gave me real confidence to go, right, let's get back at it, because if you were just on their own, he's making TikTok.
Well, I was fuming. He decided to do it on my birthday.
I did. I did think about it. But no, it was brilliant talking to.
Because it was such unforeseen times.
Yeah.
Like I said, look,
Practice,
it's always hard. Don't care what anyone says. You know, run a business, whatever it is you do, windows, pens, whatever, it's always going to be difficult. But that was such an unusual time, and it was like, do we go back? Do we not? You know, are we putting our customers and staff at risk? Are we not? Well, technically we're, you know, allowed to, but all that sort of thing. So having people that you can bounce off of that, you know,
brilliant. And it's also sort of the regulations and the changes, you know, when the new trickle vents came out, where you had to do that obviously that could have been quite a big issue. Luckily these guys have designed something that was fantastic and it works really well. But being on your own as a regional business, that's quite a difficult thing to navigate, but having the support of you guys to look at it and, you know, advise is really good. So yeah, we're definitely working.
And you mentioned about how, you know, what happened to supply. I mean, I remember once you talk about the level of service we're able to give a customer. I'm always very, very confident in the level of service we'll give a customer. We can make mistakes, but I know we'll do a fantastic job for a customer. But actually, coming out of COVID, we weren't giving a good service. We just weren't. You know, constantly ringing, I'm really sorry, your door's not going to be in on time. What? This is the third time you've moved me. You know, and things like that. And so that did test the relationship, but actually, being in a partnership with someone that you know wants the same thing as you, that got us through it.
Believe it.
Yeah.
You know the person, don't you?
Yeah, you've got the same goal that we're both struggling to
and you know that
achieve.
they're fighting as hard as you are to get it right. So yeah, it worked.
And it's non-stop, isn't it? I mean, obviously we got the Iran-Israel thing, and there's Husband Strait or whatever it's called. That there's potential that could be shut. So, and people are going, what effect's that going to have? And that interaction between everybody has got to be vital, and it gives you ears and eyes and boots on the street from everybody, knowing that they're all communicating with each other as well.
Absolutely, and it's really important for us because we've only got 28 customers. If one of them leaves us, that's huge to us.
Yeah.
So for us to keep close and make sure that we solve these problems for guys. So any new legislation that comes out, any problems that they've got, it's so important for us to take it seriously and try and solve it for them, because we want to make sure that we keep our supply chain tight. But I think the fact that everyone is really close with each other, and there's lots of little WhatsApp groups and offsprings, and everyone does talk to each other, and that's brilliant, and that's what we want. We want these guys to be friends with each other and really get to know each other. I think that's where we touched on the events, but we have lots of social events. We talked about the charity.
Well, you famously started the Southern Dealers game, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which was really good.
Yeah, that went down. But these are important, these informal events, as well as the formal stuff. So you did mention best practice events. We have marketing, we have sales, we have operations, customer services. So everyone discusses what they've tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and we share things, and then we come up with new ideas that we can go away and work on. But these are the things that make the network stronger and then give a better service to customers ultimately, because then, these guys are constantly looking at the best thing to do.
And it's really funny because we're always busy. We both are always busy doing something. And these guys throw these events. The last one was at, I was going to say Main Road, Man City, but it's not Main Road anymore, is it?
Etihad.
Sorry.
Showing your age there.
Yeah. Great. No, but we went, and it's always that thing when a Conservatory Outlet, you get months of notice and it's all booked and it's all great and you've got this amazing programme, and sometimes we talk and sometimes we don't. And you get close to the day and you're like, I'm just too busy. I've got so much on. I cannot do this.
I've got to go see that customer. I've got to get this ready. I've got to do that.
And we've been lucky over the last few years where one of us has always been either, we're too busy, we need to go. And the other person said, no, come on, let's go. And that's swapped a couple of times. But you always get so much out of it. And when you go, and that's how we say it now, look, let's just go, because we always get so much out of it. And listening to keynote speakers, some from the network, some from outside the network. If you've done a couple of talks as well yourself, which is good.
Yeah.
Craig Keefney does talks. We've had him on an early episode. He doesn't drink enough water when he doesn't. Bless him. Very dry now. Bless his heart. But no, those talking events are fantastic, and it really gets you engaged, doesn't it?
And you do always make the effort, you guys, to be fair.
Yeah, well, because you realise because you always get something out of it, even if you think you don't. And I suppose the idea isn't, we're too busy. That's the stock thing, isn't it? You speak to anyone that's got a really busy job or a busy life and spinning the plates and all that sort of thing. But we're too busy. But if you don't go to them, you don't learn those things. So actually, the whole point is that it tries to make you a bit less busy by helping you and stuff like that.
And let's not forget, sometimes it can be learning that what you're doing is right. It's not always learning something new. Confirmation is brilliant
exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it. You said about the loan.
You do get a bit of a rush, a kick, don't you, from almost, when you do say something at one of these events and people are, oh, bloody hell, we've not tried that. Oh, we won't try that. It's nice to hear, isn't it? It gives you confirmation that you're doing a good job, which is good. Which
leads me on to the next point, and I'm going to read this one verbatim because Joe's put this one.
I'm not interested. Is that the end?
Highlight TWC Home Improvements contribution with Andy Hill's unorthodox leadership style.
I didn't know you did that. I clearly hadn't seen that.
The reason I mentioned it. Okay, so the reason I mentioned it was because it is a relationship, but obviously it's probably fair to say that, you know, Karen, as she mentioned, she was really sort of to marketing, but now she sort of deals with the premium dealers and stuff.
Go on.
You probably don't have anyone quite like Andy that you've got to deal with, who will think nothing of just messaging you on a WhatsApp at 11 o'clock at night for you to do something, or then have a go at you about this or have a go. But it's always from a place of love. Although at times it must be testing, even though you want to keep that relationship. So that's why I wrote that.
Oh.
I tell you what, and what both of you do, we do, but
Yeah, you always need
but
the
you
advice.
never stop thinking about the business, and that's not to say that it impacts on your. It is your life, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
it's part of everything. Like your social life is part of work as well, and they kind of intertwine. But that means you never switch off. So you always think you might think of an idea really late at night or early in the morning. But also, I'm really gullible, so sometimes Andy will wind me up and I'll fall for it every single time. So he knows that he plays on this. But yeah, no, it's great. It's
You
great
are
fun.
going to go
Oh, no.
That is really, it does make me laugh.
April Fools is
Yeah.
I always look forward to April Fools.
I'll give you an example of unorthodox messages. So we found this unit and we really wanted it, and I couldn't get it out of my head that I really wanted it. So WhatsApps are great. When emails, people can switch off from, but WhatsApps are more difficult to switch off from. And I know that. And that is, I'll be honest, that's probably my sort of armour, really. That's my, ammo is
Your
WhatsApp.
sword.
I love it, yeah. As you've probably found that. But so we got an agent who I won't name, and he's got this unit, and we want to move on it quickly because that's one thing we're very good at. When we've got an idea, we're right, let's do it now. Let's not wait weeks. Let's get on with it. Let's crack on. Let's make it better. So we're looking at this unit, we found it, we'd
11 o'clock at night.
11 o'clock at night. And I wanted to see it the next day. So this is on a Sunday. I'd like to play out as a Sunday. So we agreed that we found the unit we like, it's got the right size, Sunday evening when it's Sunday night. So I've got the agent, we've used this agent before, so I've got the agent, I'm like, well, if I can't sleep,
No one else.
no one should sleep. So I messaged him at 4:15 in the morning to ask if we could go and look at the unit that morning. I then, about an hour later, thought, well, I shouldn't have really, I hadn't blue ticked, so he was still asleep, which was really annoying. And I thought, well, I'll give him a nudge on that. So at 5:15, I apologised for messaging that
Such an early message.
However, is it possible to
What time did he call you back?
9 o'clock? I was
were
in there at 9:30.
He was in there at 11, to be fair.
No,
You-
9:30.
Oh, was it?
It was 11 the next time. 9:30 I got in there because you were going to the dentist when that was a late one. But 9:30 in the morning we got into that unit. So, and I think I got in there because he was like, "Well, I'm not going to get any sleep if I don't let this go."
But there is energy behind everything you do, and you do everything. Like you come up with an idea and it's done, like immediately. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that's, you say about what's the ethos of the company or the sort of the mantra of the company or something like that. I suppose we are incredibly passionate about it, aren't we? And I know that sometimes you mentioned earlier about trying something that doesn't work. We're not afraid to try something that might not work, and I think to have that passion behind it, because actually we do live it and breathe it. And, although Andy and I, bicker a fair bit and disagree on quite a lot, we do spend a lot of time outside of work and things like that because your mind is always thinking about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of the best ideas have come 11 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning, or, you can't sleep or something like that. So, but the big thing for us is that passion, and if you're passionate about it, passionate about everything you do, from the moment you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, then we always feel good things come out of that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just really fun to work with as well because you're surrounded by people who are really passionate and it lifts you up as well and keeps you, on your game. And I think it's brilliant to work with them. To be fair,
It rubs off on.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you.
It does. Which does sort of bring us to the wrap up bit, because I was going to sort of get that input of TWC, and obviously you've been given the input on the whole Conservatory Outlet ethos and the partnership, and I think that's the key word here, isn't it? And from a client perspective, we get that benefit because collectively you're on the case to make sure that we've got what we need. You are getting it to us in the way we need it to us.
Well, just to give you a quick example actually on that, so from a customer's perspective, because there is that relationship and human element, if at the end of the day, what's the customer's fears? They, that they're going to give the job to a company that's not going to come along and do it properly. For example, that's probably the customer's biggest fears. Now, obviously, we've got a job at the moment where there was an issue. There was an issue on the job, so we got straight on the phone to Conservatory Outlet. They sent one of their engineers down, and and they solved it in a way that we just wouldn't have been able to do. You know, so again, it is having that relationship. It isn't just words or these are great. There's a practical element to it, because it's, you know what, guys, we need you to go and sort this out. This customer's not happy. There's an issue. They can jump all over it. You know, we can pick up the phone and speak to. That's what we always say to customers. You know, you're not going through to some call center or some head office. You go through to actual people, and that's what, you know, we have with our supplier, and that's what our customers have with us.
And one of the big things I've been picking out since, you know, working with these guys, Karen, is that the linchpin for me is communication.
Yeah.
You know, they've created new ways for clients to be able to communicate with them, that proactive communication, so that everybody knows what's going on when it is. And I would assume that you must feel that benefit from their communication as well.
Definitely. I mean, that came up in one of our events, actually. The guys, obviously, and they probably talked about this in previous podcasts, but they have WhatsApp group for every customer. So you get direct access to the guys and to everyone that's involved in their project. And that's brilliant, because then problems are addressed quickly and sorted. I guess the same with Conservatory Outlet, really. Obviously, you've got direct access to
we got WhatsApp group.
To our, so we have.
Message whenever. Brilliant. Whenever.
But also to, obviously, our owners as well. So you've got direct access to them. But we also have, so in our customer service team and our order processing teams, we have like little dedicated groups who look after only 4 customers each. So you've got like a team of 3 or 4 people that you always speak to the same people. So there's a team blue, team white, team red. So you have an account manager and 2 or 3 other people who look after you. So they get to know how the guys like things done. And you always speak to the same people. So you're not ringing up a call centre and being bounced around, and you get somebody different every time. You don't know who you're speaking to. So I think that really helps, and we've tried to replicate that as well. So you've got a tight-knit little team that you deal with.
It really works as well. I think we're Team Blue, aren't we? So they're brilliant. They're really good. And it's just getting issues solved quicker. And then if Team Blue are stuck, you go to the shower, don't you? There's a real good sort of, you know,
I'm struggling not to say talking to dogs, because the dogs.
Wow, that earlier was quite nasty, actually.
It's the same as I have to say. My mind keeps wandering. You talk about his TikTok videos, as I'm then picturing you up on a chair dancing.
Well, he's got a full mullet as well now. I don't know.
I know. See, we talked that was coming, and I have to say, I'm going to say it's better than I thought it was going to be. It looks good.
Thank you very much.
When he was explaining it and trying to grow it, I was like, no.
Well, there's always the uncomfortable medium stage, obviously, when you've got to grow it out. But
you've been very complimentary to us today.
I know, sorry.
he's missed us.
It is, you know.
Don't normally share
It's been too long. TWCHome.co.uk. Jump on. You've now got the new door visualization.
Yeah, the door design is great. Yeah, have a look at that.
So jump on that one, twchome.co.uk. That's the place to go, isn't it? I guess a client wouldn't really go to your website.
Go to TWC's website, 100%. Yeah.
Just sort of double check.
The other thing to note is they've got a really good showroom tour as well. And I think you guys are the first to do this, but they've got like a virtual showroom tour with a little video on each individual product within the showroom. So it's really nice for a customer to go on and explore what they can expect to see in the showroom and get a little bit more information about each product. Just a little pitch for you.
Apart from when it's Christmas, then it's not what you expect.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Santa's dry.
Yeah, exactly. We said everything you want to say
brilliant.
from your side? Well, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Karen.
It was safe, wasn't it? It was okay. It was all right. And
you.
Jed's, as ever, absolute hilarious show as always. It's been a pleasure.
No problem at all.
We'll be back for this was episode 9. We'll be back with episode 10 with Evil Empire Marketing to talk about how you get the message out about everything that you do, your social interaction responsibilities, all of that. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. We'll be out with episode 10 next. But until then, thanks all. Cheers.
Bye.